We are at Twin Peaks in Davie on University Drive, and Josh Appel is with us here. We had some lunch earlier. We've been kibitzing all afternoon. Josh Appel is the public address announcer for the Miami Marlins at Lone Depot Park. Spring training, by the way, begins in less than 20 days.
How about
less than 3 weeks. That's crazy.
Wow.
Josh, also a play-by-play broadcaster nationally on NFL games for Sports USA. Did games all season long. Super Bowl is upon us on Sunday. So let me jump into it here, Appel, because we were having a conversation last week and then with Arande. Crowder says the GOAT right now, GOAT quarterback ever, is Patrick Mahomes. He has already superseded. He's more talented than Tom Brady ever was.
I think that is true. But until he accomplishes what Brady did, like, it depends what you're saying he's the GOAT.
That's a fair answer. So he is, like, you can't argue that he's more talented. I'm with you because he's more mobile.
Yes.
He can
make every throw.
Right.
He can the sidearm stuff, the different angles. Like, he is a more physically talented human and does a better job at his job of playing quarterback than Tom Brady did.
That's where I start to.
I mean, it's definitely a conversation, and I don't even necessarily disagree with you. I just think that before he wins, 6 rings, like, you can't.
I mean, Arande said you're tripping. That was his take on it.
Up to this point in their careers, Patrick Mahomes has all the numbers. I think it's like 7,000 more passing yards than Brady through this time. But
also it's also a different game than
and Brady didn't start it first. Patrick walked in, starting. Well, no, he was behind
a year for
Alex. But I'm just, and that's the thing. And then I asked, and that's why I go to the thing about Marino or Terry Bradshaw. Are we ring counting, or are we talking about who is a superior human being at this position? If we're ring counting, I can go through rings. Robert Ory's the best basketball player of all time. He got 6, doesn't he? He's right up there with MJ and them. Just watching the quarterback position, I am more impressed to see Patrick Mahomes throw a football, drop back under center, than I ever was watching Tom Brady, and I stood across from him.
But here's the thing. So we just had this conversation with Arande, and I'll massage the question a little bit. When it's all said and done, who do you think is going to be the better coach-quarterback tandem? Belichick, Brady, Reid, Mahomes?
See, I think Reid, Mahomes, because Andy had success and won
in Philly.
In Philly, even they were good with Alex Smith too. I think that he's I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. Like, when it's all said and done, like, I think the accolades for Andy Reid will be on the whole better than Belichick, but only because, like, the separating factor for me, besides the rings, obviously, but the separating factor for me is, well, what did you do without Mahomes? What did you do without Brady? And Andy Reid went through a Super Bowl with McNabb and T.O. back in the day. Actually, I think they lost to New England in that Super Bowl, ironically enough. But I think, Belichick without Brady is very below under 500. He didn't get a job this offseason when there were, 8, 9 openings. I think I might give the nod to Andy Reid there. And then it just might be like the internalized Patriot, anti-Patriot.
Dislike.
Yeah. But, I grew up. I like to think I don't have that anymore, but it might still fester a bit.
I think we all have it down here.
I don't like it.
I've never been more happy about somebody not getting a job who thought they were getting it than I was when Atlanta did not hire Bill Belichick. That was a funny moment. Who do you have on Sunday? So take the line out of it. We know KC is getting 2 points, which I still think is odd.
How do you watch them the last 3 rounds?
Right. Like, if anything, Pick'em would seem more appropriate of a line. But listen, you want to make KC the dog. I already bet them.
Yeah.
I already bet KC at +2. I don't think it's going to go any higher. I have a tough time believing it's going to go any lower. I kind of feel like it's settled in at +2.
All season long, we sat here and we talked about how if the Chiefs are going to get to this point, it's going to be because of their defense. The Chiefs' offense did not score in the second half against Baltimore in that game. Their defense won them the AFC Championship game. It is so difficult for me to pick against that defense, and then even if they're not going well, Mahomes can flip it on at any moment. I think that Detroit Detroit has a lot more firepower offensively than Kansas City does. But I think Detroit exposed a little bit of how you can beat Detroit defensively. And I think Andy Reid and Mahomes obviously are good enough tandem to kind of exploit some of that when they have to. I am so excited to see what Shanahan cooks up against Spagnuolo and that defense. But like I said, going into Buffalo, winning there, going into Baltimore and shutting down Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, I don't know how you can pick against, and it's not a slight on San Francisco, because I can see San Francisco winning the game easy. I just don't know how I can pick in good conscience against Kansas City after what we've seen from them the last 2 rounds of the playoffs.
And then even the quarterback thing, because I got into it too. Like I don't think Brock Purdy's that good. I really don't think he's good.
That's not an unpopular opinion. I talk to,
yeah,
I've
talked to him.
That's ridiculous.
He's a good player, but he gets away with a lot. He gets away with a lot. What was the one game where he threw 3 or 4 interceptions off the tip balls? Like that happened. They hit the biggest play offensively for them against Detroit. He threw it off the defensive back's face mask, and he gets credit for a 50-yard.
I mean, that's pretty brilliant, though.
I'm just saying, he's a good player. He does everything that Shanahan asked him to do.
I'd like to see Josh Allen try to do something like that.
But I think
he would try, honestly.
I think that explains the line is where there's going to be a point where somebody has to go get some points, and Patrick's going to get those points.
No, but the line is San Francisco -2.
That's why it's so crazy to me. Is because that's how I feel. It's like Brock Purdy versus him. To be honest, to your point, last game, the Chiefs got choked out in the second half. 0 points. Got choked to death in the second half. But in the San Francisco game, the Lions choked them out for 3 quarters. It's going to come down to that time where somebody has to do. I'm with you, Hug. I already got my +2 in for the Chiefs, but it's going to be that day. This is going to be a close game. I don't think it'll be no butt whoops on either side. But it's going to be a time where Brock has to make that drive and Patrick has to make that drive.
I would not be surprised if we saw something play out very similar to the 2020 Super Bowl that was down here between these two teams, where San Francisco's dominating most of the game. They're up 2 scores in the fourth quarter, and then we see some Mahomes magic again in the fourth. Now, granted, there's no Tyreek Hill for him to launch it to on a big 3rd down and long like there was in that Super Bowl. But, again, I'm with you guys. This isn't going to be some blowout. This is going to be coming down to the final minutes of the fourth quarter, maybe even the final possession.
What's the total on this game? I can't get the app open here. Oh, here it is.
I took
47.5 is the total. What do you think? Over or under?
It's hard for me to pick the over there, but I hate betting unders.
Well, what do you legitimately think? You think?
I think something like 24-21, that range. I don't know if we're getting to both teams getting over 24. I don't know if I see that.
I already got the under in.
You do have the under?
Yeah.
I may need to bet that and then forget that I bet it, because I hate rooting for unders. It's a miserable experience to root for unders.
Yeah, because you get excited on 3rd downs for the defense to win.
Well, the other thing too is I've always found. Well, also I have found that when you're usually betting something in addition to unders or overs. So if you have Kansas City +2, a lot of times you're in the situation at the end where you need them to score points to cover, but you don't need the points, and that drives me crazy. It's like you've got 2 competing interests in that situation. Are you going to bet the game? I'm on KC +2. You give me Patrick Mahomes in a big game getting points, because I did it in the conference championship game. You give me Patrick Mahomes getting points. That is tough to say no.
The only thing that I have put in to this point is Kyle Juszczyk over a half a reception.
He goes deep. He goes deep on these player props.
Yeah, minus 130. One catch for Juszczyk. A
lot of player props out there. He's the only person in America who's jumped on Juszczyk.
Apparently not, because it's minus 165 now. I got it at 130.
Wow.
Yeah.
You bet the line down.
Yeah, I'm a sharp.
He's the only one to bet.
Amazing. What did you watch?
10 grand on it?
What did you watch more of? What did you watch more of this weekend? The NFL Pro Bowl games or the NHL All-Star game?
The NHL All-Star game.
Did you? You like it?
Yeah, it was presented a lot better this year, I think, than it was when it was down here a season ago. I watched the only thing that I watched of the NFL skills competition in Pro Bowl was the snapping competition, trying to get it into the wall with the
I didn't even know there was a snapping competition. That actually sounds funny.
It was a nice idea.
Be accurate snapping?
Yeah,
they couldn't. They're Pro Bowlers.
I thought that the long
2 go through.
I thought that the long snappers would be the best at it. The AFC guy, I don't think got a single point, and the NFC guy got like 11 and blew it out of the water. It was interesting, but like not for me. I can't with the Pro Bowl.
I was actually there. Now I'm just dropping, I don't know, names.
I would never do that, so go ahead.
I was there. Heard about 6 people you saw yesterday. And just like seeing it from the outside, and I know that they do a good job with the cameras but just think about that. He just said the guy from the AFC, guy from the NFC. I didn't know who they were. You have the best athletes in the world sitting around watching two guys throw balls through the middle of their legs into holes in the wall. The players were bored as hell. They're just sitting there looking around. Yeah, there was more excitement at the bar at the hotel than that entire building.
It's like we said, have a donut eating competition. Like, do like that way everybody can gather around. There can be some excitement.
I would much rather see all the centers and long snappers trying to eat as many donuts.
Right.
Like Jason Kelsey wouldn't be an animal during that. Come on.
Of course.